Have you ever wondered how your smart speaker actually gets what you're saying? Or how an AI can create a voice that sounds so real you can't tell it's not human? Well, the answer is a really cool piece of tech we're going to dive into today: audio large language models.
Yeah, this pretty much sums it all up, right? The whole goal is to have a totally seamless, natural conversation between you and an AI. But what's really going on under the hood to make that happen?
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics of this. For an AI to actually hold a conversation, it basically has to mimic the way we humans communicate. And it all really breaks down into three main parts.
So at its heart, an audio LLM is juggling three jobs. First, it uses something called ASR, that's automatic speech recognition, to listen to your words and turn them into text. Then it uses TTS, or text-to-speech, to turn its own text response back into audio you can hear. But here's the really clever part. It doesn't just hear words. It can also understand other sounds, like a cough or a dog barking, which gives it, real-world context.
This lays out the entire flow perfectly. Just think of it like a person. First, you have the AI's ears. That's the ASR, listening to what you say. Then, its brain processes everything, not just the words, but all the sounds around them to really get the full picture. And finally, the mouth, the TTS, speaks the response back to you. It's this continuous loop, all happening in real time.
But creating that perfect AI voice, it's not that simple. There's this fundamental trade-off that every single developer has to deal with. It all comes down to a constant balancing act between how good it sounds and how fast it responds.
So what do you think is more important? Would you rather have a super fast, instant response that maybe sounds a little bit robotic, or a totally flawless, human-sounding voice that takes just a little bit longer to generate? The right answer? Well, it really depends on what you're using it for.
This chart shows the two extremes really well. Over on the left, you've got low latency, which is just a fancy way of saying a very, very fast response time. This is absolutely crucial for things like voice assistants, right? Any delay in the whole conversation just feels weird. Then, on the right, you've got high quality. Here, the goal is just crystal clear production-ready audio. It's perfect for something like dubbing a movie or narrating an audiobook, where you can totally afford to wait a second for that perfection.
And here's the thing. Whether you're going for speed or for quality, there's one thing that holds it all together: the quality of the audio you put into the system in the first place. It's that classic saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you want the AI to give you clear audio, you have to give it clear audio. So yeah, a decent microphone is step one.
So now we get the building blocks. We get the trade-offs. Let's talk about the really exciting stuff. What can we actually do with this technology? I mean, the practical uses are already changing how we interact with our devices and our media every single day.
And we're already seeing this stuff everywhere. Our voice assistants are getting way less robotic. They can understand the little nuances in your voice, like when you hesitate. For anyone who creates content, this is a total game changer. Imagine dubbing your videos into a dozen languages almost instantly, with the AI actually capturing the emotion of your voice. You could reach a global audience. But maybe the most profound impact, the thing that really matters, is in accessibility. This tech can give a unique, natural-sounding voice to people who can't speak, or can transcribe conversations in real time for someone who is hearing impaired. It's fundamentally changing how people connect with the world around them.
Okay, so with this kind of power comes some serious responsibility. As these AI voices get more and more indistinguishable from humans, we have to think really carefully about how we use them.
It really boils down to two basic rules for using this stuff responsibly. First, just be clear. Make it obvious when audio is generated by an AI so nobody gets tricked. Second, and this one is completely non-negotiable, you have to prioritize consent. You should never, ever, ever clone someone's voice without their direct, explicit permission. And all of this leads to a huge question for all of us. As these AI voices become truly perfect, how are we going to know what's real and what's not? Building a future where we can actually trust what we hear, well, that's a challenge that we're all going to have to tackle together.